guess. Okay, thanks. Well, thanks everybody for attending our forum tonight. I'm Anne Leroyer. I'm the chair of the Open Space Committee and really want to thank you for participating in this important planning process for the town. Joining me tonight are, as you may be able to see on your screen, other members of the Open Space Committee, and along with Kelly Linema, who's the Assistant Director of Planning, and David Morgan, the environmental planner and a conservation agent from the town, as well as Krista Moravec and some of her other staff members from Horsley Witten Group. That's the consultant group that we're working with to prepare this open space and recreation plan update. We especially want to thank the Community Preservation Act Committee for awarding us a CPA grant so that we could hire this great firm to help us on this process. There'll be a short introductory presentation about the plan, and you'll be hearing about the feedback we've received already from the survey, which I'm sure most of you probably already took. We received over 1,000 responses, which was a really great response. So we have lots of good ideas from that and lots of other information that Horsley Witten and the town staff has been collecting about the current status of life in Arlington, so to speak, to put into this plan. You'll also be hearing about some of our key priorities and the community needs that have been expressed already. And then we'll be breaking out into small groups for about 45 minutes or so to brainstorm how these issues can be crafted into new goals and objectives to address the needs that have been expressed. Then at the end, we'll come back together to share these ideas from each of the different groups. Just briefly, the Open Space Committee is a volunteer town committee that's responsible for preparing and monitoring the town's open space and recreation plan. We have to follow state guidelines in this comprehensive document that describes the community's current open space and recreation resources and outlines an action plan to address the documented needs over the next 7 years. Arlington has had an approved open space and recreation plan in place since 1996, when the Open Space Committee was first established. Keeping the plan current through regular updates like this one helps to maintain and enhance the environmental, social, and economic benefits for all of Arlington's residents, and makes the town eligible for a variety of state grants for implementing new projects. For example, Arlington has been awarded over $1 million from the Land and Water Conservation Fund for numerous projects across town over the past decades, and most recently, more than $300,000 toward the Arlington Reservoir Reservation Project, which has been ongoing for several years. Since the plan was last updated in 2015, we've accomplished a lot of the goals and objectives that were set out in that plan. But now here we are, we're revisiting those goals and trying to put together a new set of objectives and needs for the next 7 years ahead. So Krista Moravec from Horsley Witten is going to provide more information about the background, and then later we'll get into the breakout groups. So thanks again for coming, and enjoy the show. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Anne. So I'm just going to do a high-level overview of the plan itself. Anne did touch on some of these pieces. What is open space? So when we talk about open space and the open space and recreation plan, we're talking about public and private land that is undeveloped for a variety of reasons. That might provide public access to nature, it protects water quality, or it might protect habitat like wetlands or threatened species. I think the recreation piece of the open space and recreation plan is a little more understandable. These are indoor, outdoor facilities. So these are our parks, our playgrounds, our ball fields, our basketball courts, all of those things. So why do we have a plan? So Anne touched on some of these. So we want to maintain the benefits of these resources, the economic benefits. They bring people into town. They have social benefits. They're places where we gather as a community, and obviously they have environmental benefits, cleaning our air and having clean water. They also guide decisions, policy decisions for open space, natural resources around, and recreational issues. So it's a policy, the plan is a policy document that's helping the town make these decisions. And then as Anne mentioned, it supports efforts to acquire funding through DCS and other sources. Having an approved plan ensures that the town remains eligible for those DCS funds. So this is an overview of our process and our milestones. So we started looking at data and reports and plans and doing interviews. We updated all those inventories in the plan, looking at local conditions. We held a public forum in June, and we talked about community needs. We also did a survey, and as mentioned, we had incredible response, over 1,000 responses. So right now we're talking about goals and objectives in this evening, and that will help us move forward in drafting our plan. We'll distribute that plan for comment and support, specifically looking for those letters of support from the Select Board, the Redevelopment Board, and the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, MAPC. And we then submit it to DCS for their review and approval. And we anticipate doing that either late winter, so after the new year, or early spring. So there have been a lot of efforts, planning efforts, and other studies that have been done around open space and recreational planning. These are also informing the update process. So we don't want to repeat what's already been done. We want to build on these efforts. So we're taking a lot of this into consideration as we update the open space and recreation plan. So what is in the plan? So it does have 11 required sections that I will not touch on, but it offers a community snapshot, so demographics, housing information. It has environmental inventories. It talks about needs, so needs for natural resource protection, needs for the community, needs of the town to help manage these resources. It has goals and objectives, and then there's a 7-year action plan that offers detailed strategies to meet those goals and objectives, who's responsible for them, and the time frame that the town expects to get them implemented. So what have we heard so far? So around those sections of needs, what have we heard? So natural resource protection. So there's a need to continue to improve water quality and access to resources, and add green space, and specifically around Mill Brook. There's already work being done around that, Spy Pond, and the Arlington Reservoir. There was a lot of input around public trees and protecting public trees, increasing the tree canopy in the community, educating the public about trees on private property and their importance. And then also thinking about the tree management plan and managing all that information around new trees that are being planted. And wildlife habitat and corridors. So building corridors between these open spaces and parkland and conservation areas. So creating those corridors, not only for wildlife, but also for us to move between them, and enhancing them in different ways, if it's through native plantings or other water quality improvements like this one here at Wellington Park. So community needs. We heard a lot about walking and biking safety, specifically around the Minuteman Bikeway, safety, using the bikeway, access to it, so identifying some limited access points, but also connections to that bikeway from neighboring community or neighboring residences, and the safety of those connections. And also when we think about walking and biking connections, also between resources. There was also some needs expressed around new resources and amenities, new opportunities. So more space for unprogrammed or unstructured events or activities. There was a lot of input around an indoor or outdoor pool, new wayfinding signs that kind of link all of the town resources together, There's also a lot of discussion about new popularity around new activities like pickleball. So we heard a lot about new opportunities that the community is looking for. And then finally, environmental justice and equity. So thinking about who has access to resources. Do all neighborhoods have access? Thinking about ADA accessibility and how to improve that. And then prioritizing areas that need additional resources. And finally, management needs. So improvements, upgrades, and maintenance of existing resources. So having the need for a long-term management plan of those resources, either the town properties and all their lands. Thinking about regularly scheduled maintenance for recreational areas, also in management of conservation areas, whether it's invasive species management or those types of needs, and sort of the connections that departments make and their roles in those capacity to build, to do that maintenance and that improvement. Balancing development and redevelopment with protecting and enhancing natural resources. So integrating useful open spaces and new development projects and thinking about infill and those new efforts and how to enhance them with more green space, connecting to nearby amenities and building those connections. And finally, climate change and natural hazards. So, you know, that there's two pieces to that. So adapting to changes that are already happening related to climate or anticipated, and then being proactive and reducing, for example, the town's footprint and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So different ways that the town can have policies to do that. The town has a net zero plan, so building on that, and how do we incorporate that into the open space and recreation plan? Okay, so tonight's discussion. So as Anne mentioned, we're interested, so we're focusing on the open space and recreation plan goals. So we're gonna look at the goals from the 2015 plan and think about, are they still relevant? Are they still meeting the needs that we've heard from the community? What needs to change? Are there things missing? So I'm going to touch on each of one of those. And we're not interested in wordsmithing tonight. We're really interested in ideas and themes that we should be focusing on. So we'll start with goal one. So goal one is focused around conservation and preservation. So this is how it reads. So acquire ecologically value undeveloped lands or ensure their protection through conservation restrictions and other means. So here the theme is conservation and preservation of undeveloped lands. So we would be interested in thinking about, is this goal still relevant? Is this theme still relevant? And what are some ways in which the town can make action on that? So thinking about directing statements, policies, objectives that the town should be thinking about under that goal. The second goal is around maintenance and enhancement. So this is for both open space resources like watersheds, water bodies, natural areas, but also parks, playgrounds, and outdoor recreational areas, historic and cultural landscapes as well. So thinking about the maintenance and enhancement of existing resources in Arlington. Goal 3 focuses on local and regional coordination and communication. So this is talking about coordination and communication between town departments, between different commissions and volunteer groups, but also on a regional level with neighboring towns and other regional entities, state agencies, federal agencies that help with natural resource and open space recreational planning issues. Goal number 4 is public awareness and access. So increasing the public's knowledge of the resources in town, increasing accessibility to those resources, promoting stewardship of those resources. And finally, sustainability and resilience. So this is around around addressing climate change, meeting climate change challenges, and natural resource management associated with those issues. So what I want to do is just do a quick temperature check with just those 5 goals. We're just as your quick reaction, are they still relevant? They're relevant, but they do need to be updated, or you feel like this goal or this theme around this goal is no longer relevant and it really should be removed. So I'm going to pop up a poll and each goal is listed and you can answer that, those 3 choices for each goal. So the first goal, conservation preservation. Is this goal still relevant? Yes, yes, but needs to be updated. No, no longer relevant and should be removed. Goal 2 on maintenance and enhancement. Goal 3, there we go. Goal 3 on local and regional coordination and communication. Goal 4 on public awareness and access. And then finally, goal 5 on sustainability and resiliency. So we're just doing a quick temperature check. So feel free to partake in our poll. There you go.
Can you explain how to do it? Because I'm clicking on the yes, but it's
So
not.
I think our open space members who are co-hosts,
Oh.
I don't think you will be able
Okay.
to take the quiz or the poll, I'm sorry. So we're asked.
Sorry, and I can actually,
No, never mind.
okay.
Sorry about that.
That's
Okay,
okay.
all our resident guests, please do it.
Anyone who's able, please click and answer.
So we're just trying to get an idea before we go into our rooms. I see some updates. People need to be updated. So I'm going to give it a few more seconds. Actually, I'm going to end the poll and now I'm going to share the results. So folks can see the results. So it looks like most folks feel the goals are still relevant but need to be updated. There is, maybe we'll need to revisit goal 4 if that is still relevant and should be removed. We did have a response to that. So that, I appreciate you taking that. It helps us when we go, before we go into our rooms, to help us sort of decide where we might be focusing our efforts. So in our rooms, as I mentioned, so we're gonna, each room will have a facilitator, and it will walk you through each of the 5 goals and really the themes. Like I said, we're not trying to wordsmith. We will do that. The Open Space Committee is definitely going to do that, but we're really focusing on the goal as a theme and what are the key issues that it meets and what are the key issues that it might not meet, but what are those key issues and how will it address those? And then we want to know what are some principles or direction that statements or other sorts of suggestions to help guide the town as it makes decisions to meet that goal. So is there sort of an overarching policy or direction that it should be taken? And then thinking about environmental justice and equity and how can we use that goal in that theme of that goal to meet those objectives around environmental justice and equity. You know, we all like to think about actions. So taking an opportunity to think about what might some of those priority actions would be under this goal. And we think about priority actions, you know, this is a 7-year plan. So priorities were one that we probably would think we would want to address in the first, 3 years once this plan gets underway. So giving an opportunity to think about that a little bit. And then finally, after you've gone through all those goals, is there anything that's missing? What else should we be thinking about? Is there another goal or another theme that's not being addressed in those 5 that the committee should be thinking about? A few ground rules. Obviously, we want to be kind and respectful of each other. We want to be concise. We want to be respectful of people's time. So we're going to spend about 45 minutes in the room. So try to be focused in your answers. There is an email and that we'll present at the end. So if you have further ideas, you can always reach back out to us. We want to be open to new ideas. We want to be patient with technology as always. And we want to have fun. So here's an opportunity to talk with your neighbors and your friends about these issues. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So we can see each other. So I think, how many groups are we?
So I have the breakout groups all set. I have 3 groups of about 8 or 9 people.
Great.
And so everyone, I will be issuing invitations to those breakout groups. Please hit accept. Although if you don't or you miss it, I'll be able to put you in a breakout group as soon as we all break up. And then I will have everyone reconvene in about 45 minutes, and I'll send out a warning about a minute in advance of that, so everybody knows that it's coming. All right, so if we're
Thank you,
ready,
Kelly.
I'm going to open these rooms. And here we go. Sarah, you should be seeing an invitation on your screen. You just have to accept.
I don't see an invitation.
Okay.
I can join a breakout room if you if you
Oh,
wish.
here, hang on. I'm going to I'll try to send you to a group. Did something pop up just now?
No,
Hmm.
I can. I said you have been assigned to breakout room 3. Okay,
Yeah, so
I'll
you
go
just have
there.
to hit accept there.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Ed. Are you having a problem joining a breakout group or just not feeling it tonight?
Hey, Kelly, it's Susan.
Hi, Susan. How are you?
Good. How are you? I have to leave for the tree committee meeting at 7:30, unfortunately. So
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to see you.
you too.
How are you doing? Did you want to join a group for 5 minutes, or you just want to?
Well, I'm actually like hysterically looking for the tree committee agenda. So, which, and it starts in 5 minutes. So I would,
Oh,
but
okay.
ready
Well,
for the-
we don't take it personally. I'm sure we'll have an opportunity for you to provide feedback
I
on the
just
goals.
want to say something very quickly to you about that email you sent today. Oh, no, I think I actually responded. We're talking about bylaw changes.
Sure.
And it made us feel so good that you sent us the quote of the consultant on the housing plan.
Yeah.
It said that it would be, that there was a value in encouraging builders to save trees.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? Which is the whole point of the bylaw, of course, but we never presented it that way.
Yeah.
Not like right now it's kind of punitive, like you can't take this down. If you take this down, you're gonna have to pay all this money, rather than let's figure out a way to preserve the trees, rather than let's figure out a way to punish you for taking down the trees. So
Yeah, no, the goal is to keep the older trees up. That's,
I know that is the best, but it's
Yeah.
so much more of a positive.
oh, sure.
I just
I
wanted
mean,
to know that
I
you
think it's
inspired me.
often that, people see development, and especially development of affordable housing, as somehow against environmental goals. And I just think there are so many ways about thinking them in companionship with each other. And in particular, when you're thinking about households who need affordable housing, having access to those environmental resources and the benefits of a large tree canopy, that's even more important. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
So, but anyway, I wanted to tell you that you made.
Well, I'm glad. And I know it's probably a little weird to just see that, but you're probably not the place you were expecting to see a recommendation about the tree bylaw pop up, but I'm glad you brought it to my attention, and I'm glad our consultants were so quick to respond. So
Yeah, and tell the consultant that he or she, I don't know which it is, really made our day.
okay, great. I will. Well, good luck finding your agenda, and
All right,
good luck at the
thank
meeting
you.
tonight. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Ed, I'm not sure if you're here, but if you would like me to move you into a breakout group, I'm happy to do so. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Hi, everyone is in breakout groups. I'm happy to move you into a group if you'd like.
Oh, sure.
Sure, they're just talking about goals and goals for the upcoming plan. So
Okay.
I will, let's see here.
I'm invited to room 1. Should I
Oh, there you
join
go.
that? Okay.
Yes, please.
Thank
Go
you.
for it. You're
Thanks.
welcome. Bye. Hello, Evelyn. Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Did I come in the middle of breakout rooms?
Yeah, we are in the middle of breakout groups. I'm happy to move you into a group. They still have about a half hour left and they're talking about the goals. They're going through basically each goal one by one and
Oh.
inviting feedback on that, and then also inviting a feedback on or participation on any additional goals that you might recommend
Okay.
for the plan. So I'm happy to move
okay.
you into a breakout group. You're definitely not too late. So,
Oh, okay. I have a join button.
oh, go for it. Hi, Joanne. Joanne, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but just letting you know that the group is in breakout groups right now. I'm happy to move you into a group, and I think you may have an invitation up on your screen. But they still have about a half an hour left, so you're welcome to join.
Oh, I realized I was completely muted, so I'm,
Oh, okay.
so
I
I'm
was
still
like,
eating my dinner, as I said. And so I'll just wait for a little while. and-
well, it's going to be about a half hour yet. So basically what they're doing is there are 5 goals that they've identified, or kind of buckets, and going through those and then inviting additional ideas for other goals that could be incorporated into the plan. So I'm happy to move you into a breakout group. You definitely have plenty of time to participate, or even if you want to sit back and listen.
Okay, what are they focusing on specific goals, each group?
Nope, every group
It's
is
the whole
focusing
thing.
on all
Okay.
5 goals. So
All right.
there should be an invitation up on your screen.
Yeah, I'll just join this one then.
Okay,
And I'll
great.
listen.
All right. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Hi, Ellen, how are you? Oh, you're on mute.
Hi, thanks. That's turned my lights on.
Oh.
Hi, Kelly. Thanks for saying hello. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Nice to see you too. I hope the breakout group was good.
Yes, and I dread them, but they're really good.
I know. Yeah, it's interesting. In a lot of meetings, you mention breakout groups and suddenly like 5 people leave. So welcome back, everyone. We're just pulling everyone in from the breakout groups. I hope everyone had a fruitful discussion. Okay, I think we have everyone back. So Krista, I'm going to hand this over to you.
Hello. Looks like everyone, oh, there we are. Hi, everyone. So what I thought we could do is have our facilitators sort of give us a little bit of feedback on some of the goals that they had. And I can maybe assign a goal to a particular facilitator and they can just give us some feedback on that goal. So we had 5. So I'll start with our first goal, which was on conservation and preservation. And could I start with you, Jeff? And maybe if there was some, maybe a guiding direction that came out of your group related to conservation and preservation, or some priority strategies that might have been brought up.
So I think the group was, first of all, questioning how many opportunities there are for new conservation land in the town. A lot of the most obvious places are already accounted for. So there was discussion of course, the Moorer property, but also we're brainstorming some of those smaller areas that might have some good value. So areas along Mill Brook that might be conserved, not only for recreation, but to help with water quality and so forth. We're talking about Hooks Hollow, talking about some areas around Spy Pond that might be appropriate for conservation. Also wondering to what extent we can encourage private property owners who have large expanses of open space or larger expanse of open space to accept conservation easements for their properties.
Great, thank you. Kelly, how about goal 2, maintenance and enhancement? Maybe some guidance or some priorities that may have come out of that goal to help support it.
Sure, we definitely had a few priority actions that we had some interest in. Obviously, we acknowledge that maintenance and enhancement is reliant on costs and funding, which can sometimes be a challenge. One of the things that we were interested in is thinking about signage and educational signage. So again, tying into kind of more the public awareness aspect of that, and how can you enhance park space to also serve that educational benefit. There was also some interest in bathroom facilities and thinking how can we make our bathroom facilities not just nicer, but also a little greener, thinking about composting facilities. And then just making sure that facilities like trash cans and whatnot are available and accessible and actually usable for individuals visiting town facilities.
Great, thanks. So I'll take goal 3, which was local and regional coordination and communication. And so we talked a little bit about the coordination between the different departments and their different roles, and maintaining and the upkeep of the recreational spaces and the open space areas, and just having that communication and enhance and making sure that everyone understands their role and how that happens. We did have touch on schools, so we didn't, and they also have facilities that are related to recreation, like playgrounds and ball fields, and sort of have a better understanding and how that coordinates and usage of those with outside of school time. And there were some we had some discussion about communication between the different committees, and if there's a lot of areas of interest, a lot of objectives cross over the different committees, so finding ways to make communication between them to bring folks aware of a meeting like this. So we had someone from the Disability Commission, so obviously an issue that's important to them, also important to the Open Space Committee who's hosting tonight, so making sure there's that cross connection between those two. So I have goals 4 and 5, which I'm going to circle back to Jeff, and if he wanted to touch base on public awareness and access. And I will say we did realize, a lot of these goals, there's elements that overlap, and it's hard to put things in a single bucket, and we do recognize that. So some things that we talked about in one goal may have been talked about in another. So and I'm just thinking of that, of the public awareness and access may have been one of those, but I'll throw it back to you, Jeff.
Absolutely. So we also had someone representing accessibility in our group. So we did discuss improving ADA accessibility, making sure that roadways, sidewalks, ramps, other facilities are accessible for all. Talked about this also specifically in regards to community gardens. Make sure the elderly, the community gardens are, sometimes they can't bend over to plant something. So can we have raised beds or whatnot to keep the elderly involved in gardening. Definitely talked about partnering with the school system and working environmental awareness and stewardship of the land into the school curriculum. Someone noted that there is a sustainability coordinator at the Arlington Public Schools, who's a great resource for making those connections. Also just wondering ways, not everyone has the capacity to join a Friends of group. We had a lot of conversation about the Friends of groups, the various groups in the town. There are people who are going to want to get very involved in that. And there's some people who just, want to do their part, but don't have time to be part of a committee. So how can we better communicate to the public? Here are some simple things that you can do in your homes, in your day-to-day life to improve sustainability. Talked about maybe getting neighborhood block leaders to serve as those points of communication within neighborhoods, because people are more likely to listen to their neighbors than having to look up information actively from the town website or what have you. Also talked a lot about signage. Like there are ways that at conservation properties, at parklands, use signage to educate the public about the different strategies in terms of plantings or native species, or reducing invasive species, or not dumping into the sewer system. Just that whole range of using signs to improve public awareness about maintaining our public properties and maintaining the environment in general. And then finally talked about being aware of accessibility in terms of language, or for the hearing impaired or the visually impaired, and making sure that all that communication is available in different languages and other sources.
Thank you, Jeff. And Kelly, if you don't mind, I'm going to throw goal 5 at you and see what your group talked about around sustainability and resilience.
Yeah, sustainability and resilience. We talked a lot about stormwater management. So we had a couple of individuals mention that there's a lot of asphalt. And so thinking, how can we better improve coordination within the town? If we have some sort of road repaving project, is that an opportunity for us to install green stormwater infrastructure? And thinking about how to better coordinate that kind of timetable of not just improving the roads pavement wise, but improving them so that there is better stormwater management. We also mentioned that this might be a chance to kind of look at town ordinances and see whether the current stormwater management ordinance is proactive enough and doing a good job mitigating flooding in the area and improving water quality. And then last but not least, tying back into this public education piece, we talked about, is this an opportunity to inventory where we're using green stormwater infrastructure throughout the town, making some sort of map and visual for individuals to use to explore GSI facilities in the town and learn more about that potential model.
Great, thank you. So one of our last asks was anything that we missed or new goals. And I will be honest, our group didn't get to that. And I didn't know if Jeff or Kelly, if you had any new ideas that came out of your group, or if you had a chance to get to that piece.
No, we were talking about goal 5 right up until the last few seconds.
We did talk about it for a few minutes, and echoing, I think, Jeff's group, we really focused in again on the value of signage and using signage to raise public awareness and, enhance existing facilities.
Yeah, great, thank you. Great, so all valuable information, and we're really appreciative of your time this evening. And so our charge now is to take your direction or your ideas and sort of revisit these goals and update them where they need to be updated to sort of meet the challenges of the needs that we heard. So with that, I don't know if Anne, if you had any closing remarks, I can share the email. If folks, after you leave tonight, you might have an aha moment and you want to reach back out to us. We do have a website. Too many screens.
And as you share that, I do want to know, so I know everyone here may have seen the announcement that David Morgan is our new environmental planner and conservation agent. So this is, he is managing this project now, and he is here tonight, and we've asked him to provide the closing statement, but also just a big round of welcome to David. We're very excited to have you with us. And so thank you so much for joining the DPCD team. And we look forward to working with you on this and other initiatives.
Absolutely.
Wonderful, thank you. And if you wanted to give your closing remarks first, I'd be happy to follow up on what you have to say.
Just briefly, I just realized I was unmuted before when I started, but mostly I just want to thank everybody for coming here, and we really value your input at this phase. So you know that we have a way for you to continue to communicate with us through this OSRP update email or contacting any of us individually. And if you have friends and other people that you know around town and your neighbors, please, after this event, share what you've learned, and be sure that they feel like they can access our website and email address to continue this process. And we will be drafting up the document, the plan itself, as Krista mentioned, and we'll be sharing at least parts of it with the community in the future. So hope to continue to get your input on that. So thanks again. All right, go. David, welcome.
Well, thank you, everybody, as Anne described, and others. It's been wonderful to hear from you tonight. We heard some very important and insightful feedback. So on behalf of the Department of Planning and Community Development, just want to thank you for your time and efforts. You're all very committed folks, and appreciate your involvement. Anne mentioned that we're going to be compiling things. We'll be circulating that with the Open Space Committee as well as other municipal departments. It'll become part of the record and ultimately shape the plan as it is developed this spring. And I heard a number of important things tonight. I wanted to raise up a few themes that I caught over the breakout groups. One was engaging private landholders to support town initiatives, especially around best management practices for stormwater, but also other concerns, and also how to encourage owners of larger lots to deed part of their land to the town, or perhaps a third party as a conservation restriction. There's a lot of around signage. We heard about providing cues for indicating the use of open space, its management, the history, the potential of the space. We also heard a couple of places where the town should improve, thinking about communications from the town to the citizens and also amongst committees within sort of the town circles. And certainly on ADA accessibility, that came up a number of times. The facilities ought to improve from the bikeway to gardens, parks, and so forth. So the final steps, of course, will be delivering an action plan. We're working on this 7-year timeline, and we'll be starting to circulate some of these new objectives as they've been discussed tonight and reshaped in the early spring of the coming year. So thank you again for all of your participation. I hope you'll continue giving feedback. I know this is the last public meeting, but we do certainly welcome all of your input, and thank you. Have a great rest of your evening, and thanks again for your participation.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
And everyone.
Thanks, Krista.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.